Hello everyone, Barney here from the Umbria.network, and today we're going to be talking about the Umbria Bridge and cross-chain bridges in general, and what are some of the sticking points with cross-chain bridges, and because they're such a new innovation, how they can be improved, and how the Narni bridge is an improvement over some of the traditional blockchain bridges that we're seeing in the crypto community space at the moment. And so a cryptocurrency bridge, essentially what that is it is a mechanism for people to move a cryptocurrency asset from one blockchain to another blockchain. So for example, if you have an ERC20 token like Basic Attention token or the Uniswap governance token, you might want to move that asset from Ethereum onto, let's say, Polygon or Binance Smart Chain or another EVM compatible blockchain, so that you can reap the rewards of better transaction speeds and cheaper fees of some of these other blockchains, or potentially you want to do something like sell it on a different DEX, like for example the Umbria exchange on Polygon or the QuickSwap exchange on Polygon, because it is cheaper or there's more liquidity, or for whatever reason you might want to do that. And so people invented cryptocurrency bridges so that people can move one asset from one EVM compatible chain like Ethereum over to Polygon or Binance Smart Chain or whichever blockchain they want to move to. But there's a few problems with traditional bridges, and the main problems are that they are really slow and can sometimes take days to finalize a transaction from one blockchain to another, and also incredibly expensive. And they're especially expensive considering the new hard fork on Ethereum has really made the expense of transacting on Ethereum go absolutely through the roof. So you could expect to pay anywhere from $200 to $500 when the gas is really high. The gas price is really high. And so that is going to cut out a lot of the people that might be interested in moving their cryptocurrency from one blockchain to another, might be interested in using some of these faster blockchains, but they're just not able to justify the cost, and it's just not economically viable to move from, let's say, Ethereum to Polygon. And that's basically where the Narni bridge comes into play and really shines compared to some of these other traditional blockchain bridges. The Narni bridge can be up to 90% cheaper than some of these traditional bridges, depending on what sort of transaction you do. And instead of taking, 7 days or something like that, or even hours, which is still better than days, the Narni bridge takes just a few minutes and sometimes only mere seconds to do the transaction. And we think that this is going to be a real innovation in a number of different situations, the main situations being time-sensitive transactions. And there are going to be a lot of different situations where there is time sensitivity to transactions, and this is particularly going to be true for people who are building applications which require bridging of cryptocurrency assets for things like trading, for arbitrage, or really any situation where you would need to move a cryptocurrency asset quickly because the circumstances of you wanting to move that asset change very dramatically because of price or volume discrepancy or something like that. And so the way that the Narni bridge works is essentially we have a oracle that is listening to people put cryptocurrency into one side of the bridge, and then we have assets on both that side of the blockchain and then on the other blockchain as well. And when someone brings assets onto the bridge on this side, we then give them the assets again on the other side. And we have an oracle which is looking all the time to see when assets are coming into the bridge, and then we can give them out on the other side. And essentially how we have liquidity for this bridge is our user base who are using the bridge are also able to provide liquidity into the system and earn fees whenever someone transacts from one blockchain to another. So this is a novel type of liquidity pool. It requires a user to have one asset and put that one asset into the cryptocurrency bridge on one side. And then when anyone moves an asset from the other side of the bridge to that blockchain, they're going to receive a 0.2% fee from that cryptocurrency transaction. And so this is going to be really exciting for anyone who is interested in stablecoin yield farming, because with the cryptocurrency Narni bridge, we believe that stablecoins are going to be the most popular thing to transact in the long term. And we have seen so far that stablecoins, USDT, seems to be the most used cryptocurrency that people want to move over the Narni bridge. And that makes sense because people like being in stablecoins, they feel safe, there's not as much volatility compared to something like Ethereum, at least when you're comparing it to fiat currency. USDT is going to be one of the more stable assets to hold your funds in. And so we're seeing people hold their funds in USDT and then want to move them from one blockchain to another to do a transaction, to purchase NFTs or whatever they might want to do. And so this is a really interesting innovation because there aren't really that many places in the cryptocurrency space where you can receive high APY for farming your stablecoins. In the past you would see 100% APY, 200% APY on some of these more volatile cryptocurrency assets. And the reason for that is that these DEXs want to provide a lot of APY on their farms and on their exchanges to these assets so that people bring those assets into the system. But with stablecoins, really the highest APY you could typically see on one of these DEXs or anywhere in the cryptocurrency space is probably about 8 to 12%, or at least that is how much you would be able to see in the long term. You might see farms that offer 20% for a short period of time. But with the Narni bridge, we expect that we're going to have some of the highest APYs for stablecoins in the cryptocurrency space because the way that our yield farming works is a novel idea. It's a new way of yield farming that no other piece of software has ever done before, and that is one of the reasons that we find this type of bridge to be really exciting for us, and we're really happy and interested in seeing where this is going to go in the future.
Hi there, Dev Oski from Umbria.network. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the advantages of the Umbria Narni bridge as opposed to the traditional validator-driven bridges that are currently available but are proving to be not particularly useful in some certain use cases. And these use cases are the kind that the Umbria Narni bridge is solving right now. So with the Umbria Narni bridge, we're using a particular kind of protocol called a liquidity bridge model. And that means that people can provide liquidity to the bridge and earn APY on that liquidity. And that's really important because it gives people a way to earn APY on singular assets as opposed to pairs of assets, which would be the traditional way to stake your cryptocurrency assets and earn interest on those assets. And so now, instead of having to peg two assets together and possibly suffer an impermanent loss when you stake those assets, you can provide one asset to our bridge and earn interest on that asset and not have to be pegged to another asset that you might not necessarily want to be holding. The Narni bridge is actually very potent with the extent to which it can earn a user assets, APY on their assets for providing liquidity to the bridge. The Umbria Narni bridge does not need that much liquidity to facilitate pretty large transactions and successive large transactions without needing subsequently new liquidity to be added to the bridge. So let's say there's $100,000 added to the Umbria Narni bridge. It can facilitate an infinite number of $10,000 transactions in short succession, and that's a very high amount of throughput through our bridge of migrating assets between chains. So it doesn't actually need that many users providing that much liquidity to provide a great facility for anyone to migrate liquidity between networks, and also enable those users who are providing liquidity to earn significant APY on their assets. And that idea lends itself further to the fact of adding more and more different assets to our bridge and more different networks. And eventually, as the community is built up and grown, we expect to have all different kinds of assets across many different chains, facilitating a lot of volume between the migration of assets on these different networks. The final point I'll make is with regards to the implementation of the Narni bridge and its setup with respect to adding new assets and adding new chains in the future. The developers of the Narni bridge have set up the development such that new assets and new chains can be added in a trivial way, so that if a new chain comes out or becomes popular within our community, we can quickly add that to our bridging ecosystem. And similarly with a new asset. If users want a new asset at any point, or a new asset is gaining popularity and it would be useful to add it to the Narni bridge, we can easily add it to the bridge and call upon our community or the community of that asset to add liquidity to our bridge. And its utility is really just a function of the extent to which that community can add liquidity to the bridge. But as I said before, the minimum liquidity requirements are actually so low to facilitate useful transactions that it's no great bottleneck to get liquidity into our bridge pool. And so the team are really excited to be adding lots of different assets to our bridge. We already have USDT, we have our native token Umbria, we're just about to launch Ethereum, we'll be doing Matic very soon, and a whole array of other popular assets to be bridged between the Ethereum chain, the Polygon chain, and Binance Smart Chain, KuCoin Community Chain, and really any chain that might rise in popularity and be called upon to be used by our community.